Close your eyes for a moment and imagine the soft stillness of a world that has not yet awakened. The horizon stretches slowly, mountains brushing the sky with muted shades of violet and gold. A thin mist rises from the flooded rice paddies, curling and drifting over the surface of the water, delicate, almost ethereal, as if the earth itself is exhaling slowly. You are standing barefoot in the shallow, cool mud, toes sinking gently into the soft, slippery soil, feeling the subtle pull and resistance of the earth beneath your feet. The air is rich with the scent of wet soil, young rice shoots, and the faint tang of river water nearby, carrying a quiet reminder of the life that flows beyond these paddies. This is a world measured not by minutes or hours, but by rhythm, the rhythm of the water, the rhythm of planting, the rhythm of generations who have worked these same fields in the same gentle patterns for centuries. The first rays of sunlight begin to filter over the mountains. They touch the water's surface, scattering tiny sparks of reflected light across each rice blade, so delicate and bright that for a moment it seems as though the paddies are dotted with thousands of tiny stars. A gentle breeze stirs the bamboo along the edges of the fields, brushing softly against the leaves, whispering in a voice so quiet you barely notice it at first. You take a slow, deliberate step along the narrow ridge, separating one flooded plot from the next. The mud squishes gently beneath your toes, soft and pliant, cool against the skin. One step, then another, carefully balanced, each movement a quiet acknowledgement of the fragile stability beneath your feet. Across the paddies, the village is still mostly silent. Smoke curls lazily from the first few hearths, carrying the faint scent of cooked grains into the air. A distant bird calls out once, its note stretching through the mist and fading slowly, dissolving into the quiet. The wooden yoke across your shoulders presses gently against your back, each side bearing a water bucket, familiar weight balanced evenly. It is not a burden, it is a constant companion, a guide for your body, a rhythm to align your movements with the earth. Your hands move automatically, sinking into the soft mud as you bend to plant the first seedlings. Roots settle into the wet soil, tiny green shoots rising above the water in perfect, delicate alignment. Bend, plant, straighten, step forward. Bend, plant, straighten, step forward. The repetition becomes meditative, each gesture slowly lulling the mind into awareness and calm, as though the paddies themselves are breathing with you. Time stretches, measured only by rows planted, by the rising sun, by the soft rustle of bamboo in the wind. The village begins to awaken slowly. From the riverbank comes the sound of water being drawn into buckets, soft splashes mingling with a faint scrape of wooden poles. Children emerge, carrying bundles of seedlings to help their elders, moving with the same deliberate care, their small hands mirroring the repetitive movements of adults. The rhythm of life is slow, unhurried, almost hypnotic, a gentle cadence that echoes across generations. Each step, each gesture is a meditation, each breath a quiet acknowledgement of the life that continues in these paddies, day after day, season after season. The sun rises higher, spreading warmth slowly across your back and shoulders. Sweat forms in small beads along your forehead, evaporating gradually in the soft morning air. You adjust your straw hat, worn smooth over time, its fibers faintly earthy, the scent mingling with the mud and water on your hands. Bending again, you plant seedlings with care, each one a small act of patience and continuity. Around you, details emerge in the gentle rhythm of the day. Dragonflies hovering low over the water, small frogs leaping from ridge to ridge, and ripples traveling across the paddy's surface, distorted by the subtle breeze. The work itself is endless, but comforting. Each row planted is a quiet marker of time, each step along the ridge a gentle reminder of your connection to the land. The monotony of labor transforms into meditation, a soothing rhythm for the body and mind. Water levels are checked in the small canals, adjustments made slowly, deliberately. Misaligned seedlings are nudged gently into place. Every action is deliberate, repeated countless times, yet each repetition allows the senses to become sharper, more attuned to the quiet details of the world. Lunch arrives with the same calm, deliberate pace. A simple mat is laid at the edge of the paddies. Steamed rice, perhaps a few pieces of pickled vegetables, and water drawn from the river compose the meal. Each bite is chewed slowly, savored with intention. The meal itself is part of the rhythm of life, a quiet interlude in the long repetitive patterns of planting, bending, and walking along narrow ridges. The soft gurgle of moving water, the rustle of leaves, and the faint calls of birds continue around you, forming a gentle symphony that lulls the mind as effectively as the work of planting lulls the body. The afternoon sun rises higher, its warmth spreading across the paddies, turning water into a glimmering sheet of light. Your hands press seedlings into the mud, your fingers sticky with soil, your sleeves damp and heavy. The repetitive rhythm continues, bending, planting, stepping, straightening. Each action unhurried, deliberate, purposeful. The village is quiet, the only movement slow and measured. A few other villagers work nearby, heads bent over paddies, their movements synchronized not consciously, but instinctively, with the same rhythm, as if the earth itself guides every gesture. Time stretches in waves. Hours are measured not by clocks, but by the movement of the sun, the shifting reflections on the water, the slow arc of shadows stretching across the paddy. Each detail is observed carefully. A small ripple in the water, the quiver of a leaf in the breeze, a tiny insect skimming the water's surface. Even small imperfections in rows of rice are corrected with gentle care. Fingers pressing seedlings into alignment, water lapping softly against the edges of ridges. The mind drifts gently, carried by the hypnotic rhythm of repetition, the soft cadence of work, the meditative pulse of the paddy. As the afternoon drifts slowly toward evening, the sun begins its gentle descent, painting the sky with soft streaks of amber, rose, and pale gold. Shadows stretch along the narrow ridges, stretching across the paddies in slow, deliberate movement. The water reflects the colors, shimmering gently, disturbed only by the subtle ripple of wind, or the occasional splash of a small fish. You continue along the paddies, hands caked in mud, fingers pressing each seedling with care. Each motion is deliberate, almost ritualistic. Bend, plant, straighten, step. The hypnotic rhythm of the day has carried you along, aligning your mind with the quiet pulse of the earth. And water. Around you, the village begins to quiet. The children who spent the morning assisting with planting now wander along the edges of the paddies, their small feet leaving fleeting impressions in the soft mud. They pause occasionally to watch the water, to toss a small stone or watch a dragonfly, their movements slow and unhurried, echoing the gentle pace of the adults. Somewhere in the distance, a faint murmur rises, the slow, methodical chopping of firewood, the soft clatter of a cart being returned to its resting place. The occasional splash as water is redirected through the canals. Every sound blends into a soft symphony, subtle and soothing, forming a gentle auditory backdrop to the visual rhythm of the fields. The sun continues its descent, warmth fading gradually, replaced by a gentle coolness that brushes softly against your skin. You pause, kneeling at the edge of a paddy, and let your hands glide through the shallow water. The sensation is calming. The coolness seeps through your fingers. The soft tug of the water against your hands steady and predictable, almost meditative. You notice the tiny details more keenly now. The faint shimmer of water droplets clinging to each rice blade, the gentle quiver of bamboo leaves in the evening breeze, the subtle reflection of the clouds above. The repetition of the day's labor allows your mind to drift, carrying thoughts slowly, unhurried, along the currents of water and memory. As evening deepens, the village itself begins to take on a softer, warmer hue. Lanterns are lit along the dirt paths, their glow reflected in the water, forming tiny pools of amber that dance and shimmer across the surface. Smoke rises gently from hearths, carrying the comforting aroma of cooking grains and vegetables into the cool evening air. Birds settle into the trees, their calls softening, replaced by the quiet chorus of frogs from the paddies, their croaks measured and rhythmic. The subtle symphony of evening life in the village provides a gentle closure to the day's labor, each sound, each movement, slow and deliberate, guiding the mind into calm and ease. You walk slowly back along the ridges, each step measured and careful, feet sinking slightly into the soft mud. The weight of the day rests in your muscles, a comforting ache that marks the passage of time. The rows of seedlings, now firmly rooted, create neat green patterns across the paddies, reflecting the sky and light in serene mirrored repetition. You pause at the edge of a canal, watching the water flow gently, carrying tiny ripples across the surface. The rhythm of the water echoes the rhythm of the day, the rhythm of your labor, and the quiet, steady heartbeat of life in this world. Dinner is simple, prepared over a modest fire in your hut. Steamed rice, perhaps a few pickled vegetables, and water compose the meal. Each bite is eaten slowly, chewed deliberately, swallowed carefully, a quiet ritual marking the transition from labor to rest. Conversation, if any, is soft and measured, voices blending into the background hum of evening life. The simplicity of the meal, the quiet presence of others, and the gentle sounds of the village all contribute to the meditative, calming atmosphere. After dinner, small tasks remain. Tools are rinsed and set aside carefully, mud-stained clothing hung to dry, water gently poured back into the canals to maintain proper levels in the fields overnight. Each action is performed slowly, deliberately, in rhythm with the fading light. The repetition is soothing, grounding, allowing the body and mind to unwind while still maintaining a connection to the patterns of labor, water, and earth. Night falls gradually. The sky deepens to a rich indigo, dotted with faint stars that glimmer softly above the mountains. The paddies now appear almost black, the reflection of lantern light forming soft ripples across the water. The air carries the faint, cool scent of mud, water, and rice plants. You lie down on your straw mat, feeling the gentle coolness of the mud beneath your feet. Warmth lingering in your back and shoulders, the slow pulse of fatigue marking the conclusion of the day. Outside, frogs croak rhythmically. The water murmurs softly in the canals, and the breeze whispers gently through the bamboo. As you close your eyes, the mind drifts easily. The repetitive gestures of the day, bending, planting, stepping along ridges, adjusting water, become a soothing lullaby, each motion echoing softly in memory. The gentle rhythm of life in the rice fields, the measured pace of the village, and the subtle symphony of natural sounds all combine into a meditative cadence, carrying you slowly, gently, toward rest. Time no longer matters. Minutes stretch and blend seamlessly, the boundaries between labor, observation, and reflection dissolving into quiet awareness. Your thoughts wander slowly, unheard. You consider the sun rising and setting, the water flowing through the paddies, the seedlings that will grow into tall, green stalks, swaying in the wind. You think of the countless generations who have lived and worked in these fields, following the same rhythms, performing the same repetitive gesture. There is comfort in this continuity, a deep, subtle satisfaction in knowing that life proceeds in measured, gentle cycles, each day passing quietly, each moment contained within the steady cadence of earth, water, and toil. The world outside your hut grows darker, yet the paddies continue to reflect the soft glimmer of moonlight rippling across the surface, soft and gentle. The night air is cool, brushing lightly against your skin, carrying the faint scent of earth and rice. You listen carefully. Frogs continue their low chorus. Water murmurs quietly in the channels. Bamboo leaves whisper in the breeze, and somewhere far off, an owl hoots softly, measured and deliberate. Each sound is slow, gentle, hypnotic, reinforcing the rhythm of the day and guiding the mind toward calm, toward ease, toward rest. Gradually, the body relaxes further. The ache in your muscles becomes soothing, a reminder of labor completed, of patterns maintained, of continuity preserved. Breathing slows naturally, each inhale and exhale steady and measured. The mind drifts in the gentle repetition of the day's gestures. Planting seedlings, adjusting water, stepping carefully along narrow ridges. Each action lingers in memory. Each sensation resonates softly, creating a comforting, hypnotic landscape in which sleep can arrive slowly, effortlessly. By the time the final traces of moonlight fade into early dawn, the body is fully at rest. The mind quiet and calm, carried gently on the rhythm of water, wind, and the slow, deliberate cadence of life in the paddies. The day is complete, measured not in minutes or hours, but in repetition, observation, and quiet awareness. Sleep comes easily, softly, like the gentle lapping of water along a paddy's edge, carrying the dreamer into a world of calm, of reflection, and of meditative peace, ready to awaken to the same quiet rhythm once again with the rising sun. The sun climbs higher now, casting its gentle, warm light across the fields, transforming each puddle of water into a soft, shimmering mirror. The warmth spreads slowly across your back and shoulders, seeping into muscles that have begun to remember the rhythm of bending, planting, and stepping along narrow ridges. There is no urgency here, no rush to complete the day's labor, only a measured, deliberate pace that aligns with the earth itself. Each step you take presses your toes into the soft mud, cool against the rising heat, grounding you in the rhythm of work and the gentle pulse of life surrounding you. The repetition of planting seedlings stretches into hours. Bend, plant, straighten, step. The monotony is meditative, each gesture a quiet chant of continuity. Water laps softly against the edges of ridges, frogs croak rhythmically from nearby channels, and a faint breeze moves the bamboo, whispering through leaves in a slow, soothing cadence. You notice the smallest details more keenly as time passes, droplets of water clinging to rice blades, a lone dragonfly skimming across a sunlit patch of water, the shimmer of a tiny fish moving beneath the surface. Each observation is part of the meditation, drawing your attention gently back into the moment. Other villagers work nearby, heads bent over paddies, hands immersed in mud. Their movements are deliberate, each action synchronized not by spoken instruction but by the shared rhythm of labor. The children, older and steadier now, follow behind, carrying seedlings or adjusting water levels, learning slowly, deliberately to move in harmony with the earth. The soundscape of the village is subtle but alive. The soft splash of water, the scrape of a wooden hoe, the faint creak of a cart resting in the shade. Each noise blends seamlessly with the other, forming a gentle backdrop that soothes and grounds, guiding both body and mind into a steady, unhurried pace. The sun grows stronger, pressing warmth into your back, warming the cool mud beneath your knees, and gradually softening the stiffness in your joints. The rhythm continues. Bend, plant, straighten, step. Your hands grow sticky with soil, small scratches and abrasions from repeated labor, a familiar companion. The body becomes attuned to the patterns, muscles remembering the angles, the pressure, the subtle weight shifts required to navigate the narrow ridges. The mind drifts in tandem, carried gently along by the steady cadence of repetitive work, as if the earth itself were cradling your thoughts in its slow, deliberate heartbeat. Occasionally you pause, perhaps to sip water from a small gourd, the cool liquid sliding smoothly down your throat, or to adjust your hat, brushing away sweat that trickles slowly down your forehead. Each pause is deliberate, unhurried, a quiet acknowledgement of the day's exertion. You notice the shifting patterns of sunlight on the water, the reflections changing with the movement of clouds, the subtle interplay of light and shadow across rows of seedlings. The mind lingers on these gentle observations, absorbing each sensation fully, allowing the quiet passage of time to settle deeply into awareness. The rhythm of the day stretches on, unbroken. Each row of seedlings planted is both labor and meditation. Water is nudged gently into proper alignment along the ridges, a slow, careful correction to ensure the flow reaches every plant. The touch of mud on your hands, cool yet gradually warming under the sun, is a tactile reminder of the intimate connection between human labor and the life of the fields. The soundscape, a chorus of moving water, croaking frogs, rustling bamboo, occasional birds, and distant footsteps, reinforces the hypnotic cadence of the day. Your attention drifts naturally, carried by the repetitive gestures and steady sensory rhythm. You imagine the roots growing slowly beneath the water, anchoring each tiny seedling, connecting it to the nutrients and flow of the earth. You think of the generations who have walked these same ridges, planted these same crops, moving in the same repetitive, hypnotic pattern guided by the unchanging rhythms of sun, water, and soil. The continuity is comforting, an invisible thread linking past and present, grounding your own movements within the larger, quiet flow of life. Midday brings a slow intensity. The sun now at its peak, its warmth pressing evenly across the fields. Sweat collects on the skin, evaporates gently, mingling with the scent of wet earth and growing rice. The repetition remains unchanged in pattern, bending, planting, stepping, straightening. Time continues to stretch and expand. Your muscles ache gently, a soothing reminder of work completed, of the life maintained, of patterns respected and followed. Even the smallest gestures, nudging a seedling, adjusting the water, stepping carefully along the ridge, carry significance in this slow, methodical world. Lunch offers a quiet pause. Sitting at the edge of a paddy, the mat beneath you warms from the sun. You eat with deliberate attention. Rice, perhaps a small portion of vegetables or fish, chewed slowly. Each mouthful absorbed fully, each swallow acknowledged. The gentle rhythm of eating mirrors the rhythm of planting, slow, deliberate, meditative. Around you, the sounds of the paddies continue, water lapping against ridges, bamboo leaves rustling, insects buzzing faintly, birds calling softly in the distance. The mind relaxes further, carried gently on this soft, continuous current of sensory input and repeated motion. As the afternoon stretches, you rise, returning to the fields with the same deliberate pace. Rows of seedlings, now slightly more secure in their roots, stand firm against the subtle sway of water. You adjust irrigation channels, letting water flow gently into each plot, carefully monitoring the level so that no field is overfilled or left dry. Each adjustment is slow and precise, a quiet conversation between human effort and the natural movement of water. The repetitive work carries you forward, each step, each bend, each press of a seedling into the earth, reinforcing a quiet, meditative awareness, settling the mind in the soft patterns of labor and observation. As the sun begins its gentle descent, the heat of midday gradually softens, replaced by the delicate warmth of late afternoon. The light spreads across the paddies in muted gold and soft amber, reflecting off the water with a quiet shimmer. Each seedling casts a faint shadow on the surface, creating a subtle moving mosaic of green and gold. You move slowly along the narrow ridges, the mud cool beneath your feet, pressing gently against your toes. The long hours of sun and labor have left your muscles fatigued, but steady. The rhythm of bending, planting, and stepping, now ingrained deeply into both body and mind. Around the paddies, the village grows quieter, the soft murmur of human activity slowing to a gentle cadence. A few villagers continue to tend their plots, their movements deliberate and measured, echoing the same patterns of labor that have guided this world for generations. Children wander slowly along the edges, occasionally peering into the water to watch small fish glide past, their curiosity gentle and unhurried. Insects hum faintly over the paddies, the rhythmic croaking of frogs rises softly from the channels, and the bamboo sways in a gentle breeze, brushing leaves together in soft whispering tones. The soundscape itself is a lullaby, a gentle rhythm carrying the mind toward calm. The late afternoon stretches slowly, each row planted, each seedling aligned, marking the passage of time. Water levels are checked and adjusted with care. channels redirected gently to ensure all fields remain properly irrigated. Your hands glide through the shallow water, fingers brushing against seedlings and mud, feeling the smooth resistance and gentle pull of the earth. Each small adjustment is significant, part of the unbroken continuity of care. A dialogue between human attention and the natural movement of water, sun, and soil. Occasionally you pause to observe, letting the body rest briefly while the eyes and mind drink in the surrounding details. Tiny ripples on the water catch the fading light, sparkling softly before disappearing. A dragonfly hovers low above the surface, wings glinting with the sun's last warmth. A distant bird glides slowly across the sky, its shadow stretching over the paddies in elongated pattern. The repetition of the day's gestures, bending, planting, stepping, allows the mind to wander gently, settling into the slow cadence of observation and reflection. The air grows cooler as shadows lengthen across the field. The sun dips toward the horizon, turning water into soft reflective sheets of copper and rose. Your body, heavy from hours of labor, moves with a careful rhythm, balancing each step along the narrow ridge. Sweat and mud cling to your skin, a tactile memory of the day's labor, the ache in your muscles both grounding and comforting. The world feels steady, measured, timeless, as though the day itself were an endless, gentle cycle of care, attention, and quiet observation. As the evening deepens, lanterns are lit along the village pathways, casting soft golden pools of light onto the water. The reflections dance gently, carried by tiny ripples, creating a hypnotic interplay of shadow and glow. Smoke rises from the hearth, carrying the faint aroma of cooked grains and vegetables. Birds settle into trees, the occasional croak of a frog punctuating the evening, the breeze brushing softly through bamboo and leaves. Every sensory detail blends together into a tranquil, immersive environment, guiding the mind toward ease and calm. Dinner is eaten slowly and deliberately. Rice, perhaps a small portion of vegetables or fish, is chewed with attention, swallowed mindfully. Conversation is quiet, voices blending into the soft symphony of night. Each bite, each sip of water, each pause is part of the rhythm of life, mirroring the gentle repetition of planting and tending. The simplicity of the meal reinforces the meditative pace, allowing the mind to settle further, carried gently on the quiet cadence of evening activity. After dinner, small tasks are completed with calm precision. Tools are rinsed and set aside. Water is carefully returned to the channels, and clothing is hung to dry, the motions deliberate and unhurried. The repetitive gestures create a soothing pattern, echoing the earlier hours of labor, while gradually guiding the body toward rest. The mind drifts along with these slow motions, carried by memory, observation, and the gentle rhythm of the environment. Night falls fully, blanketing the paddies and village in deep indigo. Stars appear faintly above the mountains, mirrored softly in the water below. The air is cool, brushing gently against skin still warmed by the day's sun. You lie down on your straw mat, legs stretched, back resting, body heavy with fatigue, yet comforted by the rhythm of work. Frogs continue their measured chorus. Water murmurs gently through irrigation channels. Bamboo leaves whisper in the wind, and somewhere far away, a lone owl hoots softly. Each sound, subtle and soothing, guides the mind toward calm, toward rest, and toward sleep. Thoughts drift slowly, carried on the rhythm of the day's repetitive actions, bending, planting, stepping, adjusting water, observing small changes in seedlings and reflections. Each gesture, each sensation, each quiet observation becomes part of a gentle, meditative tapestry, drawing awareness into a calm, unhurried space. Time feels suspended, measured only by the steady patterns of labor, growth, and observation that have persisted for generations. As the night deepens, your breathing slows naturally, each inhale and exhale, steady and unhurried. The body relaxes fully, muscles softened by work and gentle attention. The mind settles into the soft cadence of repetition, the slow rhythm of rice paddies, the measured flow of water, the whisper of bamboo in the wind, the gentle chorus of night, combined with memory and reflection, carries consciousness gently into sleep, unbroken, undisturbed, floating on the meditative pulse of labor and nature intertwined. By the time dawn approaches again, bringing the first faint streaks of light over distant mountains, sleep has already woven its quiet threads, and the body and mind are ready to awaken, once again to the slow, deliberate, hypnotic rhythm of life in the rice fields of ancient China. The morning begins slowly, the world wrapped in soft mist. The paddies glisten under a faint golden light, each pool of water reflecting the sky and distant mountains like a still mirror. Your feet sink gently into the cool, yielding mud as you walk along the narrow ridges, the familiar rhythm of bending, planting and stepping guiding your body into motion without conscious thought. The air is thick with the subtle scent of wet earth, rice shoots, and the distant river, a calming reminder of life flowing steadily around you. Each breath you take is slow, deliberate, carrying the gentle fragrances of the fields and grounding your awareness in the quiet pulse of this world. Water is the lifeblood of these fields. Its movement is measured, precise, and vital, shaping every action you take. You begin your day by checking the irrigation channels, kneeling along their edges to observe the gentle flow. Small gates of wood control the direction of water, raised and lowered with careful attention, ensuring that each paddy receives just the right amount. Too much, and seedlings would drown; too little, and they would wither under the sun. The rhythm of opening, closing, and adjusting these gates is subtle but steady, a quiet orchestration of human attention and natural movement, aligning you intimately with the flow of life itself. The sun rises gradually, warming your back and shoulders, the cool mud beneath your feet contrasting with the gentle heat of daylight. You move along the ridges, hands pressing seedlings into the waterlogged soil, each action deliberate and measured. The repetition of the day continues: bend, plant, straighten, step. Your fingers brush through the shallow water, feeling its subtle tug and the resistance of the soft earth below. The sensory rhythm is hypnotic, each small movement folding the mind further into calm, allowing thoughts to drift like leaves on a gentle current. Around you, the village is waking more fully. Distant voices blend into the background hum of movement. A child laughing softly while carrying a basket of seedlings. A woman scraping mud from a wooden bucket. The faint sound of water splashing into a canal. Each sound is soft, deliberate, harmonious, weaving itself into the gentle tapestry of the morning. You notice it slowly, the way ripples travel across the paddies, reflecting the changing light, the movement of tiny insects skimming the water's surface, the delicate sway of bamboo leaves in the breeze. Every observation is absorbed fully, the mind settling further into the hypnotic flow of labor and environment. The rhythm of water is constant and unhurried. Channels guide the flow between paddies, each ridge and trough carefully maintained to ensure even distribution. You kneel at the edge of a small canal, feeling the coolness of water against your palms, adjusting a tiny wooden gate to divert a gentle stream. The sound is soft, almost musical, water trickling over edges, creating ripples that spread slowly across the reflective surface of the paddies. The action is repeated countless times each day, a quiet meditation in motion, connecting you to centuries of farmers who have tended these same fields, guided by the same principles, following the same gentle patterns of labor. The sun climbs higher, spreading warmth across the paddies. The rhythm of work continues, bending and planting, stepping along narrow ridges. Sweat beads on your forehead, cooling slowly in the gentle breeze. Fingers move through mud, pressing seedlings firmly into their place, nudging water levels, observing subtle changes in the reflections of light on the water's surface. The mind drifts, carried gently by repetition and sensory awareness. Each ripple, Each gentle movement of water, each soft sound of wind or bird or frog, becomes part of the meditative flow, reinforcing the hypnotic cadence of the day. Time stretches and folds in these long hours. One paddy is completed, and you move to the next, each motion mirrored in careful repetition. The water guides you, a soft companion in motion. Channels are adjusted, small gates shifted, tiny currents nudged, always ensuring balance, always attentive to the quiet life coursing through the earth. You notice the small changes, a tiny fish swimming beneath the surface, the subtle quiver of a rice leaf, the faint reflection of clouds moving overhead. The mind drifts with each gesture, thoughts flowing as slowly and gently as the water you tend. Lunch arrives softly, unhurried. Sitting at the edge of a paddy, you eat slowly, rice and a few vegetables, each bite chewed deliberately, each swallow acknowledged. The water continues its gentle murmur beside you, a constant presence, a subtle reminder of life's rhythm. Around you, the village pauses briefly, only to resume its gentle, steady activity. The continuity, the simplicity, and the attention to detail reinforce the meditative tone, drawing the mind inward, settling it gently into calm awareness. The afternoon stretches on in measured cadence. Water is adjusted again, now responding to the sun's increased warmth. Channels redirected, gates nudged slowly to maintain proper levels. Each adjustment requires careful attention, a soft interaction between human hands and the flow of natural life. Bending, planting, stepping, the day's rhythm continues, hypnotic and unbroken. The mind moves with the fingers in the mud, with the water through the channels, with the subtle swaying of bamboo leaves. As the sun slowly arcs toward the horizon, the warmth begins to soften into a gentle glow. Shadows stretch across the paddies, lengthening over the narrow ridges where your feet have pressed countless impressions into the soft mud. The water reflects the fading light, ripples catching the subtle amber and rose tones of evening. Your hands, still damp and coated with traces of mud, move with careful precision, adjusting tiny gates and nudging channels so that every paddy receives the perfect amount of water. Each gesture is deliberate, unhurried, and meditative, a conversation between human care and the steady pulse of natural rhythms. The village grows quieter now, the soft hum of activity dwindling to occasional footsteps, distant laughter, and the subtle scrape of tools being cleaned. Children pause their play, wandering slowly along paths that wind through the fields, watching reflections ripple across the water. The faint scent of evening air mingles with the wet earth and growing rice, cooling the skin and carrying the delicate fragrance of damp vegetation. Every breath you take is full, deliberate, and calming. Each inhale and exhale syncing with the gentle pulse of life around you. Water, ever present, continues its quiet journey. Channels guide tiny streams into the paddies, gates raised and lowered to maintain balance, subtle ripples spreading like soft whispers over the surface. Kneeling by the edge of a canal, you feel the coolness flow over your hands, the gentle tug of water against fingers grounding your awareness. Each adjustment is rhythmic, repetitive, and comforting. The mind drifts along the current of motion, folding into the hypnotic cadence of liquid life and soil-bound labor. The sun dips lower, the sky turning deep shades of indigo and violet. Lanterns along the village paths flicker to life, their soft amber glow reflected in water channels and puddles, creating moving patches of light across the paddies. Smoke rises from hearth, carrying the quiet scent of cooking grains and simple vegetables into the cool evening. Birds settle in the trees, frogs continue their measured chorus, and the gentle sway of bamboo leaves in the breeze adds a soft, whispering rhythm. The world feels suspended, each element moving slowly, in harmony, guiding body and mind toward calm. Dinner is slow, deliberate. Sitting at the edge of the paddies on a simple mat, You eat rice and vegetables with attention, chewing each bite slowly, swallowing gently, feeling the rhythm of digestion and the satisfaction of nourishment. The sounds around you, water trickling, bamboo leaves brushing, distant voices, soft and measured, blend with the movement of the day into a hypnotic symphony. Even in stillness, the rhythm continues, echoing the repeated patterns of labor and care that have marked the day. After the meal, you tend to small chores, each motion gentle and deliberate. Tools are rinsed and set aside, clothes hung to dry and water gently returned to the channels. Each action is performed with care, a soft ritual that reflects the continuous cycle of life in the paddies. Your fingers brush mud from seedlings, straighten a ridge, or gently guide water flow. Small gestures that echo centuries of labor, quietly repetitive and deeply grounding. The mind drifts with the hands, following each subtle movement, absorbing the tranquility of the evening. Night deepens. Stars appear faintly in the indigo sky above, mirrored softly in the reflective water of the paddies. The cool air brushes lightly against your skin, carrying the gentle scent of earth and plant. Lying on your straw mat, body heavy but comforted by the day's rhythm, you allow awareness to drift with the soft cadence of sound and movement around you. Frogs continue their low, measured chorus. Water murmurs quietly through channels. Bamboo leaves rustle with the breeze. The hypnotic repetition of gestures and natural patterns carries the mind into calm, inviting gentle, restorative sleep. Reflections rise slowly. You think of water flowing endlessly through channels, nourishing the earth, sustaining life. You think of seedlings bending and growing, taking root in soil enriched by centuries of care. You imagine generations of farmers before you, following the same rhythms, performing the same repetitive gestures, each movement echoing the last in quiet, meditative continuity. The rhythm of labor, observation, and gentle awareness carries forward, linking past and present, grounding you in a timeless cadence that stretches beyond the day. As hours pass, the body fully relaxed, muscles softened by repetition, fingers remembering every subtle motion, feet attuned to the yielding mud beneath them. Breathing slows, steady and unhurried, each inhale and exhale a measured wave of calm. The mind folds into itself, carried gently by the repetition of the day, the flow of water, and the hypnotic rhythm of life. In the rice fields, thoughts drift like leaves along a quiet stream, flowing gently towards sleep, unbroken, uninterrupted, serene. By the time dawn edges over the mountains again, the world remains as steady, measured, and calm as before. Sleep has woven its soft threads, and you are ready to awaken into the gentle repetition of another day, aligned once more with water, earth, and the unhurried cadence of life in the paddies. The cycle continues. Labor, observation, reflection, a meditative rhythm that has persisted for centuries, carrying body and mind gently into each passing day. The morning air is soft, carrying the faint scent of damp earth and young rice shoots. The paddies glisten under a pale golden light, each small pool of water reflecting the subtle colors of early sun. You step carefully along the narrow ridges, toes sinking slightly into the cool, yielding mud, feeling the gentle pull of the earth beneath your feet. Each step is measured, deliberate, a quiet reminder of your connection to the cycles of land and water, and to the gentle passage of time marked not by clocks, but by seasons and sun. The rhythm of the seasons dictates the pace of life. Spring has arrived, and with it the first planting of the year. Seedlings are tender, delicate, their roots reaching cautiously into the saturated soil. Your hands move slowly, pressing each one into the earth with care. Bend, plant, straighten, step. The repetition is unbroken, hypnotic, a meditation performed in tandem with nature's own rhythm. The mist rises from the paddies, curling softly around the green shoots, carrying the subtle scent of wet mud and growing vegetation. enveloping the mind in quiet calm. Every detail matters. The water level is checked constantly, tiny adjustments made to ensure proper flow to each paddy. The touch of mud on your hands, the coolness of water, the gentle resistance of seedlings as they are pressed into place, all sensations are absorbed fully. The mind drifts with the fingers, following the subtle movements of water and earth, aligning with the patient rhythm of the seasons. Dragonflies skim the surface of the water, and tiny ripples form in response, disappearing almost as quickly as they appear. Each movement is soft, delicate, and in perfect harmony with the environment. The sun rises higher, warming your back and shoulders. Sweat forms along the brow and trickles slowly down the neck. Yet it is a soothing sensation, a sign of exertion aligned with purpose. The repetitive motions of planting continue steadily, echoing centuries of labor. Hands move automatically, pressing seedlings into the mud, adjusting rows, checking water flow. Around you, the village awakens gradually. Soft voices and distant footsteps merge with the gentle chorus of nature. Birds calling softly from trees, frogs croaking from irrigation channels, bamboo leaves brushing together in the wind. All of these sounds combine to form a meditative symphony, guiding both mind and body toward calm awareness. Spring gives way to summer, and the intensity of the sun grows slowly, pressing warmth across the paddy. You adjust water channels more frequently, redirecting streams gently, ensuring the seedlings receive life-sustaining moisture. The heat is pervasive, yet the rhythm of labor is steady and unhurried. Each bend, each step along the narrow ridge, each gentle adjustment of water is a deliberate gesture, absorbed fully by both body and mind. You feel the tug of the earth, the resistance of water, the faint quiver of leaves in the breeze, each sensation reinforcing the hypnotic cadence of daily life. The mind drifts naturally, carried by the repetition and sensory immersion of the work. You notice the subtle changes in the landscape, water levels rising or falling slightly in response to rainfall, tiny shoots growing taller, their leaves trembling gently in the breeze. Clouds move slowly overhead, casting transient shadows across the paddies, and the faint reflection of the sun dances in the water. The rhythm of nature, mirrored by human labor, establishes a comforting continuity. Every gesture, every observation is absorbed fully, becoming a meditation in motion. By mid-afternoon, the warmth has deepened. The body is heavy with work, yet the mind feels light, attuned to the flow of water and the growth of rice. You pause occasionally, lifting water with a small gourd, adjusting gates or straightening rows of seedlings with careful attention. Each task is small, yet meaningful, part of the larger pattern of life shaped by seasons. The repetition of gestures, combined with the constant flow of water and the unhurried movements of nature, provides a calming, hypnotic rhythm. The sun begins its gradual descent, shadows stretching across the fields, painting ridges and paddies in long, soft lines. You move deliberately, taking care with each step, each bend, each adjustment of seedlings or water flow. The colors of the evening sky reflect gently in the still water, and the soft murmur of water, flowing through channels, mingles with the distant croak of frogs and the rustling of bamboo leaves. The sensory environment is rich, yet soothing, guiding awareness slowly toward calm and gentle reflection. Evening chores unfold with deliberate care. Water levels are checked for the last time, gates adjusted slowly, and seedlings pressed gently into place. The village grows quiet, the soft glow of lanterns illuminating paths and reflecting on water surfaces. Smoke rises faintly from hearths, carrying subtle fragrances of cooking grains. Every sound, every motion, every detail contributes to the meditative rhythm that has marked the day from dawn until now. As darkness settles, the sky deepens into shades of indigo, and stars begin to twinkle faintly overhead. You lie down on a straw mat, feeling the gentle coolness of the earth beneath you. The body, heavy with work yet comforted by the continuity of the day, relaxes completely. Frogs croak in measured cadence, water murmurs softly, and bamboo leaves rustle in the evening breeze. Each sensation, each sound, each memory of repetitive labor carries awareness further into calm. As evening deepens, the warmth of the day softens into a gentle coolness, brushing lightly against your skin. Shadows lengthen across the paddies, stretching over ridges and reflecting softly on the water. Each seedling stands tall and firm, anchored by hours of careful planting and irrigation, swaying gently in the breeze. The air carries the faint, comforting scent of wet earth, growing rice and distant hearth smoke, creating a soothing, immersive environment. Every inhale fills the lungs with calm, every exhale releases tension, aligning the body and mind with the slow rhythm of life in the fields. Lanterns are lit along the village paths, casting warm, flickering light that dances across the paddies and reflects in channels of water. The gentle glow creates moving patterns, soft and mesmerizing, echoing the subtle ripples of the irrigation channels. Frogs continue their low, rhythmic chorus, blending seamlessly with the murmur of water and the whisper of bamboo leaves. Birds have settled into the trees, their occasional calls quiet and deliberate. All around, the sensory world moves slowly, a quiet symphony of evening that guides the mind toward relaxation and ease. Dinner is eaten with deliberate attention. Sitting at the edge of the paddies on a straw mat, each bite of rice, each mouthful of vegetables is chewed slowly, savored and swallowed with mindfulness. The repetitive rhythm of daily labor is mirrored in the simple motions of eating, reinforcing the meditative pace of life. Conversations are soft, blending into the surrounding sounds of night. The water flowing through channels, the croak of frogs, the gentle rustle of bamboo leaves, the distant crackle of hearth fires. Each sound reinforces the hypnotic cadence of the evening, grounding attention fully in the present. After dinner, small tasks are carried out with calm precision. Tools are rinsed and stored, clothing hung to dry, and water gently returned to channels for the night. Each motion is slow and deliberate, a soft ritual marking the conclusion of the day's labor. Fingers brush mud from seedlings, adjust tiny gates, or press a row of plants more firmly into the earth. Each action, repetitive and unhurried, carries a subtle rhythm, echoing centuries of careful work and patience, and reinforcing the immersive sense of calm. Nightfall deepens. The sky turns a rich indigo, scattered with faint stars, reflected softly in the paddy's water. A cool breeze brushes against the skin, mingling with the lingering warmth of the day. Lying on your straw mat, body relaxed and heavy, you feel the subtle ache of muscles eased by gentle stretching and careful labor. Awareness drifts slowly, carried by the hypnotic repetition of the day's gestures, bending, planting, adjusting water, observing tiny changes in seedlings and reflections. The mind folds naturally into a state of calm, fully attuned to the soft rhythms surrounding it. Thoughts drift toward the passage of seasons. You recall the gentle transition from spring's first planting to summer's warmth, noticing the subtle shifts in sunlight, temperature, and water flow. Each season brings its own rhythm, the careful planting of seedlings, the attentive adjustments of irrigation, the observation of subtle changes in growth. Time stretches slowly, measured not in hours but in repeated gestures, the movement of water, and the patient growth of rice. Each season reinforces the continuity of life, creating a steady, meditative cadence that persists quietly across generations. The cool night air carries the soft scent of wet earth and ripening rice, mingled with the faint fragrance of distant wood fires. You lie quietly, eyes closed, body aligned with the gentle slope of the earth beneath the straw mat. Every muscle is relaxed, every joint softened by repetition, every breath slow, deliberate and measured. The subtle symphony of night, water murmuring through channels, frogs croaking rhythmically, bamboo leaves rustling softly, carries the mind further into calm. Sleep approaches naturally, unhurried, guided by the continuity of labor and the hypnotic rhythm of seasonal life. As the hours pass, awareness drifts like water along the channels. You imagine generations of farmers before you, performing the same gentle gestures, bending and planting, adjusting water, observing subtle changes, each movement carried out with care. The continuity of life, the steady rhythm of seasons, and the patient repetition of labor all intertwine, creating a meditative tapestry that envelops body and mind. Each inhale, each exhale, each thought folds into this rhythm, preparing the mind for deep, restorative sleep. By the time the first faint streaks of dawn touch the horizon, the world is quiet, measured, and calm. The fields, the water, the paddies, and the village have all settled into a gentle stillness, awaiting the new day. Sleep has already woven its quiet threads through the body and mind, carried gently on the rhythm of seasons, water and earth. You awaken naturally with the rising sun, ready to rejoin the slow, hypnotic cadence of life in the rice fields, aligned with the timeless, meditative flow of nature and labor. The morning greets you softly, the air cool with a gentle mist curling above the paddies. The water reflects the first pale light of dawn, still and shimmering, capturing the faint blush of the waking sky. Today is different from the earlier days of planting and tending. Today is the day of harvest. The rhythm of labor changes slightly, yet retains its hypnotic, meditative quality. You step carefully along the ridges, toes pressing into the soft, wet earth, feeling the familiar resistance of mud beneath your feet. Each movement is deliberate, a quiet acknowledgement of the culmination of months of careful labor. The paddies are heavy now with rice, each stalk bending under the weight of ripened grains. You pause for a moment to observe, letting the eyes trace the gentle undulations of the fields. The sun is still low, casting long muted shadows across rows of green and gold. A faint breeze stirs the air, causing the tips of rice stalks to sway slowly, brushing softly against one another. Each ripple of movement is gentle, almost imperceptible, yet it brings life to the otherwise quiet landscape. The mind settles into observation, absorbing every detail, every nuance, every small sensation. You kneel at the edge of a paddy to begin harvesting. Fingers move carefully through the dense stalks, grasping bundles of rice and bending them deliberately for cutting. Each motion is slow, measured, and mindful. The blades of the sickle glide through stalks with soft resistance, the rustle of cut grains falling into the basket a rhythmic accompaniment to your breathing. The repetitive gestures bend, grasp, cut, gather, fold the mind into calm, creating a hypnotic loop of motion and sensory engagement. Around you, villagers participate in the same gentle rhythm. Families work side by side, children and elders alike contributing quietly. Some adjust water levels for easier access to the paddies, while others gather bundles and lay them carefully to dry. Every action is deliberate, unhurried, a continuation of the meditative cadence that has defined the planting, tending, and now harvesting. Voices are soft, blending harmoniously with a gentle rustling of rice stalks, the faint murmur of water through channels, and the occasional distant call of birds returning to their nests. The sun climbs slowly, warming your back and shoulders as the hours pass. Sweat gathers and trickles down slowly, cooling against the skin and mingling with traces of mud still clinging to hands and feet. Each bundle of harvested rice is carefully carried, laid down and arranged, creating a subtle pattern across the drying fields. The repetitive labor, combined with the steady sensory immersion of sound, touch, and sight, draws the mind deeper into a state of calm awareness. The body, familiar with these motions, moves automatically, guided by centuries of practiced patterns, while the mind drifts, observing, reflecting, and settling further into tranquility. Mid-morning transitions gently into noon. The sun's warmth intensifies, yet the pace remains deliberate and soothing. You pause briefly to sip water from a gourd, letting the cool liquid slide smoothly down the throat, refreshing muscles and observing the reflection of light across the water, noticing the subtle swaying of rice stalks, and the glint of grains catching sunlight. The mind absorbs each detail slowly. The passage of time is measured not by clocks, but by gentle natural cues, the height of the sun, the warmth against the skin, the soft sound of water rippling through the channels. The harvest continues steadily. Each cut of the sickle, each bundle arranged for drying, is performed with attention and care. Small gestures, seemingly simple, hold deep significance. Pressing a stalk firmly to avoid breakage, ensuring bundles lie evenly, adjusting water levels to protect the paddies from overfilling. The body is engaged fully, muscles recalling every nuance of bending, cutting, lifting, and arranging. The mind drifts in tandem, guided by the repetitive motions, drawing calm and meditative awareness from the quiet immersion in labor and nature. By mid-afternoon, the rhythm of work and sensory observation deepens. The sun casts warm, soft light across the drying fields. Water channels glimmer, reflecting the sky and swaying stalks. The scent of damp earth mingles with faint hints of ripening grains, filling the air with subtle grounding aromas. Fingers move steadily, slicing, gathering, arranging. The gentle repetition lulls the mind further, each gesture reinforcing the continuity of seasons, labor, and life. The hypnotic cadence is reinforced by the chorus of ambient sounds, water murmuring, bamboo rustling, distant calls of birds returning to rest, and the soft exhalations of villagers working beside you. As evening approaches, the sun begins its slow descent, the warmth softening into gentle amber. Shadows lengthen across ridges, highlighting the contours of the fields and the careful arrangement of harvested bundles. You pause, occasionally, leaning on the edge of the ridge, observing the subtle interplay of light, water, and movement. Each bundle of rice tells a quiet story of months of labor, attention, and care, connecting you with the timeless rhythm of seasonal work. Every motion, every breath, every sensory observation continues to fold the mind into calm, deepening the meditative state, and preparing for the day's closure. The sun continues its gentle descent, casting long, soft shadows across the paddies. The golden light reflects in the still water, creating an almost dreamlike shimmer across the neatly arranged bundles of harvested rice. Your hands, still faintly coated with traces of mud and grain, move slowly and deliberately, finishing the last adjustments to the drying piles. The body is heavy with hours of labor, yet each movement is steady, unhurried, and meditative. Fingers brush softly across stalks, adjusting bundles so that every piece rests evenly, and each gesture becomes part of the hypnotic rhythm of the day. Around you, the village slows. Soft footsteps echo along the ridges as other villagers finish their work. Children wander quietly among the fields, curious yet calm, watching the reflections in the water. A faint breeze moves through the bamboo, brushing leaves together softly, while distant frogs provide a gentle rhythmic chorus. The ambient sounds blend seamlessly, creating a natural lullaby, a slow symphony that carries awareness into a state of calm. Every sound, every subtle motion, becomes part of the immersive environment, guiding the mind gently toward relaxation. Dinner is quiet and deliberate. Sitting at the edge of the paddies on a straw mat, you eat slowly, each bite of rice and vegetables chewed thoroughly, swallowed with mindful attention. The gentle warmth of the evening sun lingers on the skin, cooling slowly, while the scent of wet earth and ripening grain fills the air. Conversations are soft, interwoven with the natural sounds of the surroundings. Each breath, each swallow, each sensory observation reinforces the hypnotic cadence of the day's work, grounding awareness in the simple continuity of life and labor. After the meal, small tasks are completed with careful attention. Tools are rinsed and stored, clothes are hung to dry, and water is returned gently to the channels for the night. Each action is performed deliberately, reinforcing the rhythm of repetition. that has characterized planting, tending, and harvesting. Fingers brush mud from seedlings, adjust a gate, or carefully place a bundle of rice. Each gesture a quiet meditation in itself. The steady cadence of these small, deliberate motions draws the mind further into calm, allowing a gentle sense of reflection and satisfaction to settle deeply. As darkness grows, the sky deepens into shades of indigo, stars appearing faintly overhead, mirrored in the still water of the paddies. The air cools, brushing softly against skin warmed by the day's labor. You lie down on your straw mat, feeling the gentle slope of the earth beneath. Body heavy, but comforted by hours of deliberate work. Awareness drifts slowly, carried by the repetitive motions and observations of the day. Bending, harvesting, adjusting water, observing subtle shifts in light and reflection. The mind folds naturally into a state of calm, attuned to the meditative rhythms of both labor and nature. Thoughts drift to the cycle of life and seasons. You reflect on the months of careful planting, tending, and now harvesting, noticing the slow progression of time measured not by clocks, but by sunlight, water, and growth. Each season has brought its own rhythm, planting in spring, nurturing in summer, and gathering in autumn. The continuity of these cycles, repeated across generations, connects you to countless others who have moved through the same motions, guided by the same patterns, responding to the same sun, water, and earth. The night air carries subtle fragrances: wet mud, ripening rice, distant smoke from hearths. Lying quietly, every muscle softens further. Every joint eases with relaxation. Breathing slows, steady and unhurried, each inhale and exhale a measured wave of calm. The hypnotic cadence of repetitive labor, the gentle murmur of water, the soft chorus of frogs, and the faint rustle of bamboo leaves merge, carrying the mind effortlessly toward restorative sleep. The reflection of the moon glimmers faintly in the water, casting long, quiet shadows across the paddies. Your awareness drifts with the ebb and flow of water, following the gentle rhythm established by the day's work in the seasonal cycle. Fingers, hands, and feet remember the motions of planting and harvesting. The body rests, yet retains the subtle memory of deliberate movement. The mind folds into the calm, guided by the hypnotic repetition of gestures, the continuity of labor, and the quiet, immersive presence of nature. As hours pass, sleep comes naturally, unhurried, and deep. Thoughts drift slowly like leaves on water, carried gently along the rhythm of irrigation channels, wind through bamboo, and the quiet pulse of the fields. You are cradled by the continuity of labor, the repetition of seasons, and the meditative flow of water, earth, and sunlight. By the time dawn edges across the horizon, the body and mind are renewed, fully attuned to the slow, hypnotic cadence of life in the rice paddies, ready once more to follow the meditative rhythm of planting, tending, and harvest. The morning begins softly, the air cool and still, carrying the faint scent of wet earth and the gentle aroma of growing rice. Water glimmers faintly across the paddies, reflecting the subtle colors of dawn as it spreads slowly across the horizon. Each ridge beneath your feet feels familiar and yielding, the mud soft and slightly cool against toes. The quiet world seems to stretch, not with urgency, but with patient, deliberate continuity. And the rhythm of time becomes palpable in every gentle movement. You notice first the subtle changes in the light, the way it shifts slowly across the paddies as the sun rises higher. Shadows stretch and contract along the ridges. Reflections of clouds ripple across the water, and tiny insects skim along the surface, barely disturbing the mirrored sky. Each moment is soft, gentle, and unhurried. You bend slowly, adjusting seedlings and gates, observing water levels, feeling the subtle tug of liquid against fingers. Every motion reinforces the rhythm of time, measured not by minutes or hours, but by the gentle unfolding of light, growth, and water flow. The day continues, unhurried and deliberate. You bend to plant, to tend, to observe, each gesture repeated with quiet mindfulness. The mind drifts, attuned to subtle cues, the warmth of the sun increasing gradually, the faint chorus of birds, the distant shuffle of villagers along paths between fields. Every sound, every movement, every reflection on water carries the mind further into calm, fostering a gentle sense of continuity. Time is no longer a number, but a living flow, experienced through repetition, observation, and subtle sensory awareness. As afternoon approaches, the sun shifts slowly westward, casting muted golden light across the paddies. Shadows lengthen softly, stretching over ridges and clusters of seedlings. You pause occasionally, lifting water gently with a small gourd, adjusting the irrigation channels with deliberate care. Fingers brush lightly through water, mud yielding beneath hands, seedlings bending gently beneath your touch. Each subtle sensation is absorbed fully, anchoring the mind in the present, while allowing awareness to drift with the flow of time. The mind begins to reflect gently on the months that have passed. Spring planting, the growth of seedlings, tending, and adjustment through heat and rain. And now the approach of harvest. These changes are imperceptible, if one only glance quickly, yet when observed slowly, they reveal the patient, deliberate unfolding of life. Water levels rise and fall with rainfall, sunlight shifts across leaves, and tiny insects move across the surface of the fields. Each small change marks the passage of time, and the slow repetition of labor reinforces the hypnotic rhythm of seasonal life. Around the village, life continues softly, blending into the background of the fields. Children's laughter drifts faintly through the air. Elders adjust water gates with deliberate care, and the distant sound of cooking from hearths blends with rustling bamboo leaves and water trickling through channels. These gentle, repeated sounds mark the hours in a natural rhythm, a slow and steady metronome that guides both body and mind. Each step, each breath, each gesture folds further into the meditative cadence, reinforcing awareness of continuity and calm. The passage of time is also evident in the subtle growth of rice. Leaves lengthen imperceptibly, stems strengthen gradually, grains swell slowly under the sun's persistent warmth. These shifts are subtle, yet constant, a reminder that time, like water, flows steadily, invisibly shaping life. Your hands follow these changes, pressing seedlings gently, nudging water carefully, adjusting small gates to guide flow. Each motion is deliberate, unhurried, echoing centuries of practice, reinforcing a hypnotic rhythm that soothes the mind. While observing the inexorable march of days, the sun continues to move westward, stretching light across the paddies and bathing everything in a soft golden glow. Water glimmers gently, reflecting the warmth and slow movement of the day. Shadows stretch further, and the air carries the faint, comforting scent of wet earth and ripening rice. Every sensation, every observation, every repetitive motion folds the mind gently into calm, reinforcing awareness of subtle changes and slow passage of time. The afternoon slowly bends toward evening. Shadows lengthen gently across the paddies, stretching over ridges and reflecting softly on the water. The golden sunlight shifts to muted amber, painting the fields in subdued hues. Each rice stalk bends gently in the breeze, carrying the subtle weight of ripening grains. The soft rustle of leaves, the distant call of birds returning to their nests, and the rhythmic murmur of water through channels blend into a quiet, meditative symphony. You pause on the ridge, toes pressed into the soft, cool mud, feeling the gentle resistance beneath your feet. The repetitive gestures of the day, adjusting water, bending, tending seedlings, continue, almost automatically now, allowing the mind to drift freely with the rhythm of the environment. Each breath aligns with the soft flow of water through channels. Each glance reflects subtle changes in light and movement across the fields. Time becomes fluid, measured not by hours, but by observation, sensation, and patient awareness. Evening chores unfold in deliberate slowness. You check water levels, adjust tiny gates, and ensure seedlings are upright and secure. The motion of the hands, careful and repetitive, mirrors the rhythm of the flowing channels. Each gesture carries its own quiet significance, a subtle meditation in motion. The mind absorbs the delicate patterns of shadows, reflections, and water movement, creating a hypnotic cadence that deepens calm and awareness. The sky gradually deepens into shades of indigo, the first faint stars appearing overhead. Lanterns along village paths flicker to life, casting warm, soft reflections on the paddies. The air cools gently, carrying the faint scent of wet earth, ripening rice, and distant cooking fires. Frogs begin their measured chorus, adding a rhythmic undertone to the layered sounds of evening. Each sound is absorbed slowly, deliberately, guiding the mind into a relaxed, contemplative state. Dinner is quiet, deliberate, and nourishing. Sitting on a straw mat at the edge of the paddies, each bite of rice and vegetables is chewed slowly, swallowed mindfully. The soft glow of lanterns and the faint, rhythmic sounds of the village blend seamlessly with the natural environment, creating a calming auditory and sensory immersion. The repetition of gestures, raising the gourd, adjusting posture, chewing slowly, reinforces the hypnotic cadence, encouraging deeper relaxation and reflective awareness. As night falls, your attention turns inward, contemplating the passage of seasons. You reflect on months of planting, tending, and observing. Subtle changes in sunlight, water levels, and growth have marked the slow progression from spring to summer, each day blending gently into the next. You think of the continuous flow of labor, the repetitive motions repeated over centuries, connecting each moment with those of generations past. The mind drifts along this continuity, carried by gentle awareness of patterns, change, and the slow, steady rhythm of life. The body settles fully onto the straw mat, muscles relaxed, joints softened, fingers rest lightly, still recalling the motions of planting and tending, the subtle bend of the stalks beneath your hands, and the faint tug of water on your skin. Breathing slows naturally, aligning with the gentle flow of water through channels in the measured chorus of frogs and insects. The sensory environment, sight, sound, touch, smell, merges into a hypnotic tapestry, lulling both mind and body toward calm and rest. Thoughts drift slowly, like clouds moving across the sky, or leaves carried along a quiet stream. You imagine generations of farmers performing the same gestures, adjusting water, bending, planting, observing subtle changes in their fields. Each action, repeated over centuries, becomes part of a larger meditative rhythm. The passage of time, the slow flow of seasons, and the continuity of labor merge into a profound sense of calm, anchoring awareness in a timeless cadence of life. As the hours pass, the world grows quiet. The moon reflects softly in the paddies, its pale light stretching across ridges and water. The body, heavy with deliberate labor and attuned to the rhythm of the day, relaxes completely. Each inhale, each exhale, each faint rustle of bamboo leaves, each murmur of water through channels becomes a thread in the gentle web of relaxation. The mind follows these threads, drifting deeper, guided by repetition, reflection, and immersion in the slow, hypnotic cadence of life. By the time dawn approaches, the passage of time is fully felt, measured not by hours or minutes, but by the steady, patient flow of days, seasons, and generations. The fields rest, water channels calm, and the village lies quiet. Sleep has already woven itself through body and mind, carrying awareness gently along the slow, meditative rhythm of life. In the paddies, you awaken naturally with the rising sun, fully aligned with the continuity of labor, nature, and the hypnotic flow of seasonal life. The day unfolds gently, the air still and soft, carrying the faint scent of wet earth and rice growing quietly in the paddies. You lie on the edge of a straw mat, toes brushing the cool mud of the ridge, feeling the gentle resistance beneath your feet. The world is calm, unhurried, and quiet, inviting the mind to drift freely. Each sound, each motion, and each subtle scent becomes a point of awareness, a gentle anchor in the expansive rhythm of life. You begin by observing the smallest details around you. The glimmer of sunlight across water channels, the soft sway of bamboo leaves in a lazy breeze, the rhythmic chorus of frogs and distant birds. Each sound and movement is slow and deliberate, almost imperceptible, yet rich with texture. You notice the way light bends on wet leaves, how the wind moves across fields, and how the ripples of water interact with reflections of the sky. These subtle observations become meditative anchors, allowing the mind to fold into a calm, reflective state. Hands rest lightly on the straw mat, fingers brushing the grains of rice stalks lying nearby. You feel the faint texture of mud clinging to skin, the soft weight of the earth beneath your body, and the delicate movement of wind across exposed skin. Every sensation is amplified by slow attention, each one a gentle thread weaving together awareness and calm. Breathing follows the same unhurried rhythm, slow and deliberate, inhaling softly, exhaling fully, sinking naturally with the faint sounds of nature around you. Reflection drifts toward the daily labor of planting, tending, and harvesting. Each gesture, repeated countless times, is simple yet deliberate. Bending to plant seedlings, adjusting water flow, observing subtle changes in growth. Each action carries quiet significance. The mind traces the movement slowly, replaying the tactile sensations and sensory observations, creating a hypnotic loop of calm repetition. You notice the steady alignment between human labor and the rhythms of nature, the flow of water, the rise and fall of the sun, the gentle shifting of seasons. Time itself begins to feel different. Hours no longer measure the day, rather the steady flow of gestures and natural cues creates a continuum of experience. The mind settles into this continuum, absorbing the gentle progression of sunlight, the slow movement of water, and the patient growth of rice. You reflect on the continuity of these patterns across generations, farmers before you performing the same gestures, observing the same subtle changes, immersed in the same quiet rhythm. This connection fosters a deep sense of calm and timelessness, inviting the mind to rest within the flow of repetitive, meditative labor. As the day drifts toward afternoon, you imagine the soft sensation of mud between toes, water brushing against skin, the subtle pull of each seedling in your hands. The tactile details unfold slowly, each one reinforced by attentive observation. You focus gently on the rhythm of breathing, matching the steady inhalations and exhalations to the imagined movements of hands bending, planting, and adjusting water. Each repetition is soothing, reinforcing the hypnotic cadence of the surrounding environment. The village continues quietly around you. Soft conversations blend with distant footsteps, water flowing through channels, and the faint rustle of bamboo leaves. Children play in the background with gentle laughter, fading into soft echoes over the fields. Each sound is absorbed slowly, layer upon layer, creating a rich, immersive tapestry of calm. The mind rests within this soundscape, moving gently between observation and reflection, deepening a meditative sense of tranquility. Eyes close slowly, and you allow awareness to drift inward. Thoughts of labor, seasons, and nature unfold like a gentle wave, recurring yet subtly changing. With each repetition, you imagine bending to plant seedlings, lifting water carefully with a gourd, arranging bundles of rice, and observing subtle patterns of sunlight across the paddies. Each mental gesture mirrors the physical ones experienced throughout the day, carrying the same slow, deliberate rhythm that soothes the mind and body. The passage of time continues, imperceptible yet constant. Shadows stretch and recede softly across ridges. Sunlight filters gently through bamboo leaves, and the wind brushes lightly against skin. The sensory world is rich yet subdued, creating a perfect environment for reflection. Awareness rests fully in each small observation: the texture of mud, the coolness of water, the gentle sway of rice stalks, the distant chorus of frogs and birds. Each detail reinforces a meditative immersion in the quiet, cyclical rhythm of light. Evening approaches, and the sky deepens into muted hues of indigo and soft violet. Lanterns flicker along the paths, casting gentle reflections across the paddy's water. The mind continues to follow the steady, hypnotic rhythm of daily gestures, focusing on tactile sensations, subtle sounds, and gentle movement. Awareness folds naturally into this pattern, absorbing the continuity of labor, the flow of water, and the slow, deliberate passage of time. Night descends slowly over the paddies, soft and calm, carrying the gentle scent of wet earth, ripening rice, and faint smoke from distant hearths. The sky deepens to indigo, dotted with the first stars, mirrored delicately in the still water of the fields. You lie quietly on the straw mat, toes touching the soft mud beneath the ridge, fingers brushing lightly across nearby rice stalks. The body is heavy, yet relaxed, every joint softened, muscles eased by the slow rhythm of labor and careful observation. The mind drifts with the subtle flow of the evening. You focus gently on the chorus of nighttime sounds, water rippling softly through channels, frogs croaking in measured rhythm, the rustling of bamboo leaves, the occasional distant call of a bird settling for the night. Each sound layers upon the last, weaving a quiet, immersive tapestry of gentle repetition. Breathing follows naturally, slow and deliberate, syncing with the soft cadence of ambient sounds and the remembered gestures of the day. Reflection drifts inward. You recall the repetitive motions of planting, tending, and harvesting rice. Bending, lifting, pressing seedlings into mud, adjusting water channels. Each gesture is remembered in slow, deliberate detail, recreated in the mind with gentle care. Fingers brush lightly, muscles flex softly, and the tactile memory of labor unfolds slowly, reinforcing a sense of calm and meditative awareness. Every thought is soft, non-urgent, drifting like a leaf on water, guided by the continuity of patterns repeated through generations. The night deepens, and awareness broadens, encompassing the small, subtle changes that mark the passage of time. Moonlight glimmers faintly across ridges and water. Shadows stretch gently, and clouds drift lazily overhead. Tiny insects skim across water, their soft movements barely disturbing reflections. Every observation is slow, deliberate, and absorbed fully, merging seamlessly with the rhythm of breathing and the gentle repetition of remembered gestures. Awareness folds into this continuous, hypnotic flow, fostering a profound sense of calm. Thoughts of seasons arise softly, without urgency. You reflect on the patient unfolding of time, spring planting, summer tending, autumn ripening, and the quiet rest of the land during winter. Each day is a small, deliberate cycle, repeated countless times by generations of farmers. The continuity of life, the subtle progression of growth, and the repetition of labor create a meditative cadence, carrying the mind gently through the quiet night. The body relaxes further with each breath. Muscles release their hold on tension, joints soften, and the mind drifts with ease. You notice the soft weight of the straw mat beneath, the gentle pressure of the ridge on your back, the faint tug of breeze against exposed skin. Each sensation is absorbed fully, slowly, deliberately, as if time itself has slowed to match the rhythm of awareness. The subtle, hypnotic repetition of physical memory, bending, adjusting, lifting, continues to carry the mind gently towards sleep. The sensory environment deepens the calm. Moonlight reflects on water, creating soft patterns of shifting light. Bamboo leaves rustle quietly in a gentle breeze, and distant water channels murmur soft. Each layer of sound and sight is observed slowly, one at a time, forming a rich, immersive environment that encourages relaxation. Awareness drifts between subtle movements, tactile memories, and ambient sounds, weaving them into a continuous, sleep-inducing tapestry. Gradually, The mind focuses inward, guided by slow breathing and the memory of repeated gestures. Fingers flex softly, imagining the gentle bend of seedlings, the subtle movement of water, and the quiet adjustment of bundles of rice. Each imagined motion is slow, deliberate, and soothing, echoing the physical labor and sensory observation of the day. Repetition becomes meditative, carrying the mind deeper into calm and tranquility. Time seems to stretch infinitely, measured only by breath, subtle sounds, and the slow flow of thoughts. Each sensation, the weight of the body, the texture of mud, the rustle of leaves, the faint chorus of frogs, merges into a continuous rhythm. The mind drifts naturally with this flow, resting in the meditative awareness of labor, nature, and the continuity of life. Every repetition reinforces the hypnotic cadence, carrying awareness gently toward restorative sleep. Finally, the body and mind surrender fully to the rhythm of night. Each inhale and exhale deepens relaxation. Every subtle sound, sight, and sensation lull awareness further into calm. Sleep arrives naturally, unhurried, guided by the slow meditative patterns of planting, tending, harvesting, and reflection. The paddies, water channels, and village rest, and the mind drifts along the gentle flow of life, fully aligned with the hypnotic continuity of nature and labor. The night has settled fully over the rice fields, soft and calm, carrying the lingering warmth of the day. The moon hangs low, casting pale silver light across the paddies, creating gentle, shifting reflections on the water's surface. The air is cool and soft, brushing lightly against the skin, carrying the faint scent of wet earth, ripening rice, and distant fires from hearths in the village. The world feels quiet, suspended, and slow, inviting the mind to drift gently toward rest. You lie fully on the straw mat, toes pressing softly into the yielding mud beneath, hands resting lightly at your sides. Each muscle relaxes further, every joint softens, and the body feels heavy yet comfortable. The gentle rustle of bamboo leaves in a light breeze, the distant murmur of water flowing through channels, and the faint chorus of frogs and insects create a layered, immersive soundscape. Each sound is absorbed slowly, deliberately, guiding attention outward and inward at the same time, merging awareness with the hypnotic rhythm of the night. Your thoughts drift slowly, gently recalling the day's labor, bending to plant seedlings, adjusting water levels, observing subtle changes in growth. Each movement is remembered in delicate detail. The soft pressure of mud beneath fingers, the gentle tug of seedlings in your hands, the rhythmic glide of water over earth. These mental gestures unfold slowly, repeated in a calm, deliberate loop. Each repetition reinforces the meditative state, allowing awareness to sink further into the continuous rhythm of labor and nature. The sky deepens gradually, stars appearing faintly overhead, reflected softly in the paddy's water. Shadows stretch and shift gently with the movement of moonlight, creating a slow, mesmerizing pattern across ridges and water. Each reflection, subtle and delicate, becomes a point of attention, a gentle anchor for the mind. You notice how the smallest changes, a ripple, a shifting shadow, a glimmer of light, carry a sense of calm continuity, echoing the slow, deliberate rhythms of seasons and labor. Breathing becomes a steady, measured rhythm, aligning naturally with the subtle flow of night. Each inhale fills the body with calm awareness. Each exhale releases tension and thought. Awareness drifts gently between sensations, the coolness of the night air on skin, the soft pressure of the straw mat beneath, the gentle tug of water on submerged toes, the faint rustle of bamboo leaves. Each sensation is absorbed fully, slowly, deliberately, weaving a sense of profound calm and relaxation. The mind expands, contemplating the quiet continuity of life. You imagine generations of farmers performing the same gentle gestures, adjusting water, bending, planting, observing subtle shifts in the fields. Each movement, repeated countless times across centuries, becomes a hypnotic pattern, carrying awareness deeper into the rhythm of a lower nature and time. Every breath, Every subtle motion, every sound of the night reinforces this slow, meditative cadence, gently preparing the mind and body for sleep. Time itself seems suspended, measured not by hours, but by the slow, deliberate patterns of reflection and sensory observation. Moonlight shimmers across paddies, water channels ripple gently, and rice stalks sway softly in the breeze. Each subtle movement is mirrored by a shift in awareness, creating a continuous, immersive experience. The mind drifts naturally, tracing the movements of water, leaves, and shadows, following the gentle rhythm established by the continuity of labor and the flow of the seasons. Evening deepens further, and the body grows heavier with relaxation. Each breath carries the mind closer to rest. Each sound of night becomes a gentle guide. The chorus of frogs, the soft murmur of water, the faint rustle of leaves, and the distant crackle of hearth fires all blend into a slow, harmonious lullaby. Awareness folds fully into the environment, immersing in the hypnotic rhythm of nature, labor, and timeless continuity. The night deepens completely, surrounding the paddies with a soft, calming darkness. Moonlight continues to shimmer faintly on the water, casting gentle silver patterns across the ridges and bundles of rice. The air is cool and still, carrying subtle scents of wet earth, ripening rice, and faint smoke from distant village hearths. You lie fully on the straw mat, toes brushing the soft mud beneath, fingers resting lightly on rice stalks, and the body relaxes more deeply with every slow exhale. Your awareness drifts inward as the body settles fully. Each breath is slow and deliberate, each exhale releasing the faintest traces of tension. Fingers flex gently, recalling the motions of planting, tending, and harvesting rice. Bending, lifting, adjusting water. Each imagined gesture slow, soft, and deliberate. The hypnotic repetition of these mental motions mirrors the physical labor of the day, carrying the mind gradually into a profound state of calm. The gentle chorus of night surrounds you. Frogs call rhythmically, water ripples softly in channels, and bamboo leaves rustle in a whispering breeze. Each sound is observed slowly, fully absorbed, forming a delicate, layered tapestry of sensory calm. Breathing aligns naturally with these ambient rhythms, inhaling with the flow of water and exhaling with the gentle rustle of leaves. Awareness merges seamlessly with the environment, and the distinction between body, mind, and surroundings begins to fade. You visualize the paddies under the moonlight. Water reflects stars faintly scattered overhead. Ripples glimmer with subtle light, and rice stalks sway softly. Shadows stretch lazily over ridges, creating slow, mesmerizing patterns that shift imperceptibly. Each imagined movement mirrors the real, physical gestures of planting and tending, bending, pressing, adjusting. Observe. These repetitions are soft, deliberate, and soothing, allowing the mind to drift gently with the hypnotic cadence of labor, nature, and time. Thoughts of seasons and cycles emerge slowly, without urgency. Spring planting, summer tending, autumn harvest, and the quiet rest of the land in winter unfold like gentle waves. Each cycle blends seamlessly into the next, mirrored in the soft swaying of rice, the subtle rise and fall of water, and the slow, continuous flow of time. Awareness rests fully in this quiet continuum, drawing deep, meditative calm from the repetition of patterns, gestures, and natural rhythms. The body becomes heavier with relaxation, every joint softening, every muscle releasing. You feel the gentle pressure of the straw mat beneath, the slight tug of mud on toes, and the soothing coolness of night air against skin. Each sensation is observed with soft attention, reinforcing a profound sense of stillness. Breathing continues slowly and naturally, each inhale carrying calm awareness, each exhale releasing tension and thought. The mind follows this rhythm, drifting deeper into tranquility. You imagine the steady flow of water through the paddies, gliding over small ridges, nourishing the rice, reflecting light. Fingers trace the imagined movement of water, hands flexing softly, and the mind mirrors the gentle, repetitive motion. This visualization is slow, deliberate, and meditative. Each repetition strengthens the hypnotic cadence, carrying awareness deeper into rest, aligning the mind fully with the timeless patterns of nature and labor. Stars shine faintly above, mirrored in the quiet water below. The moon moves slowly across the sky, casting shifting patterns of light that dance gently over ridges and fields. Shadows stretch and contract. The soft rustle of leaves continues, and the chorus of night insects pulses in a rhythmic lullaby. Each observation is deliberate, slow, and immersive, weaving body, mind, and surroundings into a unified, calm, meditative state. Sleep draws closer naturally. Awareness of body and mind softens, blending with the gentle rhythm of imagined and remembered gestures. Each breath, sound, movement, and sensation merges, forming a continuous, hypnotic loop that lulls the listener fully into rest. The paddies, water channels, rice stalks, and village rest. The mind drifts slowly, carried by the repetition of labor, the flow of water, and the soft cadence of night. By the deepest hour of night, consciousness and surroundings merge seamlessly. The body is fully relaxed, the mind at ease, and the hypnotic repetition of sensory observation, mental imagery, and gentle reflection has guided the listener into complete sleep. The paddies glimmer softly under moonlight. Water ripples quietly. Bamboo leaves sway gently, and the world rests in calm continuity. Sleep carries awareness naturally, deeply, and unhurriedly, aligned with the rhythms of life, labor, and the enduring passage of time. The night deepens completely, soft and still, surrounding the paddies with gentle quiet. Moonlight glimmers faintly across the water, casting silver ribbons along the ridges. The air is cool and soft, brushing lightly against your skin, carrying faint scents of wet earth, ripening rice and distant fires from the village. Every breath you take is slow, deliberate, and calming, carrying you deeper into rest. You feel the subtle weight of your body sinking into the straw mat, toes touching the yielding mud, fingers brushing softly over rice stalks. Muscles are heavy yet relaxed, joints softened, and every sense attuned to the gentle rhythms around you. The rustle of bamboo leaves, the faint ripple of water, and the chorus of distant frogs and insects merge into a gentle lullaby. Listen closely. Each sound drifts softly through the night. Each movement of water or leaf carries a slow, calming rhythm, and your breath moves slowly with that. Imagine the paddies beneath the silver moonlight, water reflecting stars faintly above, rice stalks swaying softly, and a delicate breeze. Shadows stretch and shift lazily, each subtle motion a wave guiding your mind deeper into calm. Picture yourself floating gently over the paddies, carried by the quiet flow of water, the slow rhythm of the wind, the soft pulse of night itself. Each movement, each gentle sway, is a thread drawing you further into rest, further into sleep, deeper and deep. Your mind drifts now like a leaf on a still pond. The soft textures of the day, mud between toes, the subtle tug of seedlings, the glimmer of sunlight on water, fade into calm memory. Every inhale draws peace. Every exhale release tension, and your body and mind move in perfect rhythm with the quiet night. You are fully cradled by the gentle continuity of labor, water, wind, and moonlight. The sounds of the paddies begin to soften, distant, gentle, almost like a slow, soothing heartbeat. The bamboo ceases to stir. Water stills, frogs croak faintly, and fade. The world around you dissolves softly, leaving only the quiet rhythm of your breath. You feel yourself floating, drifting, weightless, aligned with the timeless flow of seasons, nature, and the gentle cycles of life. You can let go completely now. Allow every thought, every small tension, every awareness to drift away, deeper, 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 carried on the slow, hypnotic currents of the night. The paddies, the water, the rice, the moonlight. all fade softly into calm, and you are suspended in complete stillness. Sleep embraces you full. Your mind drifts effortlessly, like a leaf carried on a gentle stream, merging with the moonlit reflections of the fields, flowing endlessly into quiet, restorative rest. Nothing else is needed. Nothing else is required. The world, the paddies, and the night are still, and you are carried, safely and softly, into timeless sleep.